Oh my God, Jay.
It's Social Pulse Weekly, brought to you by Agora Pulse.
This week's special guest, Jay Baer.
Discussing this week's hottest topics and latest developments in social media marketing. Your host, Jennifer Watson. Here's Social Pulse Weekly.
Hey guys, happy Friday. This is our holiday edition of Social Pulse Weekly. Thank you so much for joining us. This is your all-in-one social media show where we have an expert interview, talk about the latest social media news, and have a little fun with trivia as well. If you hang around until the end, you have the potential to win either an amazing and incredible Agora Pulse mug, Social Inbox Zero, or a t-shirt. It's your choice. So stick around with us. We're so excited to have you. I know things are crazy. It's the holidays, you're shopping, you're trying to get things done for family, wrap things up for your business for the end of the year. So hopefully you can watch us, relax, and have a little fun. We have an epic show ready for you guys. We have an amazing guest, but first I want to give a shout out to our show sponsor, the amazing Jessica Phillips. She owns Now Marketing Group. She is a thought leader in this industry. She's incredible. She's amazing. She'll be providing her insight in the comments so you can ask her questions. And then also, obviously, we're going to ask our guests some questions as well. Now, without further ado, I want to tell you a little bit about how amazing our guest is. So he is a 7th generation entrepreneur, which I think that's incredible itself. But he's written 6 best-selling books and has founded 5 multi-million-dollar companies. Now, Jay Baer, our guest, has spent 25 years in the digital marketing and customer experience, consulting for more than 700 companies during that period, including 34 of the Fortune 500. He is the president of Convince and Convert, a consulting firm that works with the world's most iconic brands like the United Nations, 3M, and Hilton. And his new book, if you don't have it, you need to get it, Talk Triggers, is absolutely amazing. Basically, it talks about how in the best companies, the customers do the marketing for you. That's what you want. And if you're struggling with that, you need to buy his book. So without further ado, I want to bring on the Mr. Amazing Jay Baer. Jay, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. And so you guys, I'm sure all of you know who Jay is. If you don't, he is quite a dapper style. His suits are just amazing and incredible. And I asked Jay if he could wear kind of a holiday themed suit or outfit. And Jay, I would say you look pretty nice. You look pretty darn good.
Thank you, Jennifer. Fantastic to be here. Big thanks to Jessica Phillips for sponsoring today's episode. And obviously, my friends at Agora Pulse. I use Agora Pulse each and every day myself. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So fantastic to be here. Thanks for the kind words about the suit. As long as it's plaid, I will be there.
Yes. Oh, Jay, and thank you so much for being here and joining us. And so really quick, before we get into the interview, we posted on our Facebook page about you and asked people where they first met you and, how you inspired them in their careers. And we got some pretty amazing responses, Jay. Everyone loves you, just so you know. If you weren't sure, they do. Jen Herman said, I met Jay at Social Media Marketing
I see
World.
neither of my kids have answered this question, so that's fine.
but everyone else has, and your kids, I'm sure, would answer this question.
They don't use Facebook anymore because they're in college, right? That's the problem.
This is true. This is very true. Well, Jen Herman thinks she met you in 2015. I met you actually at Social Fresh in 2015, which was my first ever social media conference. And I remember being so intimidated and everybody was like whispering. Ththey're just like, oh my God, JB.
Such a great event. I love Social Fresh and they do such a nice job, Jason and Nikki, with their events. They're really well done.
Yes, no, they do an amazing job. And you spoke there. You also did a fireside chat with Jason Keith. And the way you talk and present to the audience, like you're not talking to us, you with your amazing resume, you could be like, I'm better than everyone else, but you're not. You're like one of us. And you're such a great storyteller. And it's just amazing how you can break, really complex things down so everyone understands. And it's just wonderful. I think you're wonderful. And
Thanks.
So everyone, just so you know, we appreciate you. Everyone loves you. It's the season of love. So
season of love and gingerbread and eggnog, which sucks. I don't understand why people drink eggnog.
No, I don't understand
I'm
that.
not here for it. I'm sorry. I probably
Sorry
just
for
offended half the audience.
Yeah, sorry for eggnog drinkers. And for our audience, really quick, as you know, with this show, it's a two-way conversation. So you're not just a fly on the wall watching us talk. We want to hear your questions too. So let us know who you are, where you're from, and what your biggest accomplishment was of 2019. We've got Carrie Ray here. Carrie, you're awesome. You're amazing. Ken Watson. Ken, thank you so much for joining us. Deb Mitchell is with us. Steve Eisenberg. Eric Fisher, a whole slew of people. So we were actually having a really good conversation right before we started live. And I was like, I wish we were live right now, just talking about the fact that you're a 7th-generation entrepreneur, everything you've done. I mean, you're only 2 years older than me. And I don't understand. My resume just does not match up to yours, Jay. But tell us about your first company, how you first got started, and where you find your motivation.
Wow. That's a crazy story. So, how long's the show? I started in politics, actually. 'Tis the season. I was a political consultant, ran political campaigns as a young man, was a political science major, and worked on on races for the presidency, for governorships, Congress, etc., and did that while I was younger, and then realized like that's kind of a dirty business and not a great family business, certainly. And so I got out of that and got into what we would now consider to be traditional marketing. At that point, we just called it marketing because there was no digital, and did that for a little bit, and then I got a job as a spokesperson for a state agency. I was the spokesperson for the Arizona Department of Juvenile Corrections. I'm from Arizona originally, and so my job was more or less to give tours of the juvenile prison system, which sounds awesome, I'm sure, to everybody out there. And I didn't want to give any more prison tours. I knew that. And I was having a beer with some friends of mine who had started the very first internet company in Arizona. Now, this is 1993. So this is before Yahoo. This is before Netscape. This is a decade before Google, back when domain names were still free. And they said, Jay, this internet company that we are building has gotten a little bit bigger than we thought it would, and we don't know anything about marketing. And I said, that's okay, because when you say the word internet, I don't actually know what that word means. Because at that point, all everybody did was America Online and Prodigy and CompuServe, and I'm certainly dating myself with that reference. But the open, scary internet where you could go wherever you wanted was not something that was done in polite society. But I said, I will do anything to not give another tour of this prison. So I walked in the next day and quit, and started as the vice president of marketing of an internet company, having never been on the internet, which is an interesting first day at work for sure. And we grew that company really fast and developed some really proprietary technology, and ended up having customers in 23 countries almost overnight. It was a crazy wild ride. As I think I told you, Jen, domain names were free at that point, and so we registered tons of domain names. And the fun fact, some people who are tuning in may have heard me say this on stage in the past. We sold the domain name Budweiser.com to Anheuser-Busch Brewing for 50 cases of beer, and we genuinely thought like we got the best deal, because it was like, well, we didn't pay anything for it, so we just arbitraged this sucker into 50 cases of beer, and we had to like kick an intern out of an office, and that was now the beer room. It was pretty great. I was the senior partner at the ripe old age of 23, I think I was, maybe 24. So
Oh my
it was the good old days, that's for sure.
Oh my God, that story is just truly amazing. 50 cases of beer. I can only imagine like how much that would go for like now, which is completely insane.
52 cases of beer would be the 2020 price, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, like, so that's the thing that I try to bring to my work in social and in digital and content and customer experience, and the things that we do at Convince and Convert for clients, is that look, I know we focus a lot on tactics and channels, right? And what's the best way to do Snapchat, and what's the best way to get engagement on TikTok, or what's the best way to do an Instagram carousel versus an IGTV, or whatever the circumstances are. And I get that. I understand why that's appealing, and great, but I'm really more coming at it from a strategy standpoint, which is I don't really care what the tactic is, because it's going to change anyway. I was here before the internet doing marketing, and I was here when websites started, and that was the only digital marketing was the website because there's nothing else. The company I used to work for sent the first outbound commercial email in the history of the internet. We sent that, so I was like
Oh my God.
the first to email, and then we ended up doing tons of paid search back when it was 5 cents a click, and organic search, and then social, and then retargeting, and then paid social. So every single thing that is now commonplace, I had a front row seat when that thing was invented, and that's cool to look back and be like, wow, we've come a long way, both personally and as an industry. But my takeaway from that is don't get so wrapped up in how to do the specific thing. Just figure out how to connect with your customers and prospects, how to turn your customers into your greatest advocates. And whatever today's flavor is from a tactical perspective is fine, but don't lose sight of the core message and the core thing that you offer that people want to engage with. That's why we do strategy at Convince and Convert and not so many tactics, because strategy has a shelf life, and in tactics, especially in this industry, have a very, very short shelf life.
Oh, that's so true. Very true. And I think a lot of people forget that too. And I love your book, Talk Triggers, too,
Yeah.
because it's, some of the most amazing companies that I know of are through word of mouth or reviews. I look at those reviews, and if they're like not higher than 4 stars, then I'm just like, and we're not going to go for it.
It's such a good point, Jennifer. Like,
Yeah.
especially now when every business essentially of even like things like plastic surgeons or whatever, right? They have a review score, a 1 to 5 score on whatever site is true in that industry. And as a consumer today, if you're going to even visit the site, much less give them your money, if you're even going to visit the website of a service provider or a company that's under 4, that's a 3, whatever, you're like, I don't know, this feels a little sketchy. And you wonder like how many prospective customers never even get a taste of what that business can do because other customers have scored them in a particular way. It has a huge impact, a billions and billions of dollars of economic impact based on what we now would consider to be online word of mouth.
No, and it really does. And that's so important. And really quick, before our next question, we've got Mitch Jackson in the house. Brian
Mitch Jackson.
Yeah, we've got Brian Fanzo. He decided to join us. I know him just a little
Who's
bit.
that? Who?
I'm not sure. I'm actually
Brian Fanzo. I'll have to look it up on the other screen.
Yeah. We've got Ken Watson made a good
Ken
point.
Watson.
Yeah, kids today don't know the struggle to connect to the internet with 144 modern.
They don't even know the sound. If you play like the modem sound, they're like, "What's that screeching?" I'm like, "Bro,
See, I know, but
you've got no idea."
See, like when I went to college, we had the floppy disks. We had everything. It's so crazy. Like a lot of my papers and stuff are saved on floppy disks, and I have no idea how I'm going to get them off.
A lot of my papers are saved on paper. Because I had a typewriter in college.
Oh my God.
Literally a typewriter. Like, yeah.
So you know what I learned, and people don't realize this. I learned, and this is in high school, my senior year, we learned how to type on typewriters, electronic typewriters. Everyone's like, Jen, how old are you? 36. But you know what? I still feel like typewriters were good for that because it was like practicing and all that kind of stuff.
What did you say earlier that I'm 2 years old? I'm 50. What are you talking about?
I thought you were in your upper 30s like me.
God bless you. I wish.
See,
I'm genuinely old.
Like seriously, I so thought you were. I really thought we were only like just a couple.
I went from like the young. I remember when I started in this business, I was like the young phenom or whatever, and now I'm like the old, not a phenom. It's really Mitch Jackson. I've had this conversation in the past. It's really interesting to look back at your career and be like, oh, I'm now that guy, right? It's crazy.
No, you're a legend. Like talking to everyone saying that you're going to be on the show, like they couldn't believe it. They're so excited, and I can't believe
I'll come on the show every week. I love doing this kind of stuff. Like, and I'm a huge supporter of Agorapulse, so you can plug me in whenever I'm not on an airplane.
Oh my gosh, Jay, I love you so much. Everyone, you heard him say that, right? Like it's going to happen.
Probably recording this somewhere.
I know we are recording this. And you guys, so we literally only have like 30 minutes or so left with Jay because he is a very busy man.
Oh, I have something to say about that.
Yes.
Well, we're going to do the trivia at the end, right?
Yeah.
If you get a t-shirt.
Yes.
Or a coffee mug.
This is correct. Or an amazing coffee mug.
And whichever you pick, you get a copy of 4 of my books. I'll sign all of them. So you let me know, give me your address. I'll send you out 4 signed copies.
Okay, yes. We're going to have Jessica reiterate that in the comments, guys. We're going to have some fun. So you want to stick around to the end. I wish I could win, but I don't think I can because I'm the host. It's
I'll
one of
just
those
send you some
things
books.
when it's such a good contest like that. All right, guys. So Jay, I feel like we could ask you and talk to you and interview for 24 hours. But so let's talk about.
That's the show we should do.
I know. I've talked about that. So
and then we get into jammies and we ask different questions, and then and then it's like all this. So in the morning it's coffee, and then like a tea, and then like an iced tea with a water. And then we start drinking, right? And then you're just like it's 24 hours of beverages with Jen and Jay. That's the show.
Yes, Mike Boss, who is the producer here, Mike
There you
Alton. Can we make that happen? I'll let you sit on that for a little bit.
We need a tequila sponsor. If we can get a tequila sponsor, I can do the show.
Well, when I was there at Social Fresh, who was the VP of
it was Patron was the sponsor. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll talk to them. We'll make this happen. We'll really make it happen. Okay, so let's talk about 2019, Jay. Yes. And what did you see were the biggest trends to you, and especially your clients, the biggest surprises, announcements? Like, what were the big things for you?
Yeah, we talked about this recently. My podcast, Social Pros, just had its 400th episode last week, and we did a live show with Adam Brown, my co-host, and talked about some of the 2019 trends that really surprised us. Certainly how fast Instagram commerce ramped up, I think, is really interesting. Like, it went from kind of an afterthought and a few brands are trying to do some direct sales to now Instagram direct to consumer, DTC, as it's often abbreviated, is actually a meaningful threat to retail, to traditional brands. You've got all these companies that don't even exist, right? They're just creating a Shopify account and drop shipping whatever weird thing they're selling, and all they do, then you have a website, all they have is an Instagram ad account. Like, that whole thing is crazy and came really fast. Really, that is a big trend in 2019. Clearly the emergence of TikTok and whether that's going to continue, I think, is one to pay attention to for sure. And I would also look at least for our work with corporate clients, we're seeing a great convergence of content marketing strategy and social media strategy, which used to in previous years be very separate. In fact, in many cases, staffed separately in the enterprise. And now I think people are starting to think, and rightfully so in my estimation, like, this is all kind of the same thing. It's just sort of a content strategy, and social is one of the ways that content exists, or one of the modalities that content exists. And so that's a sort of somewhat different way of thinking about why we're doing all of this. And there's a bunch more trends, of course, but those are 3 that just came to mind.
I would have to agree. I think, especially when it comes to, you're right about e-commerce and Instagram, and then TikTok is just blowing up, and everyone's just, so many businesses are just like, okay, so do we jump on? Do we get in early? Does it make sense? It's one of those things that you should get an account and monitor and see what people are doing, because what I love about TikTok is the creativity. I mean, those videos, I'm like, how long are people spending on creating these videos? I mean, some of them, it feels like they have to plan out and do so much. They're changing outfits. I mean,
the old guy, he's like, get a job, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. And I think it's so Brian, who does TikTok, #BlueLine with the policemen and everything, is a great hashtag to follow, because they get really creative. A lot of the men all over the country. So I love that. I think everyone agrees. Now, what do you think are the biggest trends going to be in 2020 and in the next decade? Because where do you think we're going? I feel like there's just going to be probably more social channels emerging, trying to be better than the next, more content, being pushed out there. So it's more about quality over quantity. But, what are the big things you really think that are going to stand out in 2020?
I mean, the first thing I would say is dark social, right? And the whole area of messaging, whether it's Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, IG DMs, all the other forms of messaging. Facebook has said that they're going to go hard into messaging, even harder than they already have, and try to integrate WhatsApp and Messenger at some level, as well as IG DMs, and really try to take on WeChat, which is the dominant messaging platform in other parts of the world. This idea of social media broadcasting, where you're trying to accumulate as large of an audience as possible, I think is going to fall out of favor at some level. And what we're going to see is a return to social media narrowcasting, where you're trying to reach the right people, the 50 people, the 30 people, the 11 people, the 6 people that really matter. You're already seeing evidence of this psychologically, Jen, with the rise of Facebook groups, right? I don't know how many people I've talked to who say, you know what, the best part about Facebook is groups. And a lot of people believe that. And it's the same idea that maybe trying to reach the biggest possible audience isn't what we're all here for. That's what some people are here for sure. But maybe that's not what we're all here for. Maybe it's using this technology to get back to the social rather than the media, which is how do we engage at a deeper, more important, more permanent level with a smaller group of selected individuals instead of just trying to use social media as digital flypaper.
And Lisa just made this great comment. Dark web will also decrease a whole bunch of vanity metrics.
That's a good point. LKW is a genius, has done some work with me in the past. One of my favorite people on the web. Great to have her here. And she is super duper smart. That's a really good point.
Yeah. And then Jessica, she also is a big advocate of dark mode, dark web. And actually, she puts on, have you been to Social Media Week Lima before? Jay?
What was the question?
Have you been to Social Media Week Lima before?
No.
You need to. So it's amazing. So this next year, it's in mid-June. Jessica will tell us the dates, but she puts on an amazing conference. And why it's so amazing, I think also the way you said where we're going in the future communities, and even conferences are going to be smaller. People crave the intimate settings. And that's exactly what Jessica does in Lima. So, people might be like, oh my gosh, why would we fly into Columbus, drive 2 hours to Lima? That's a lot of, traveling and everything. It's worth it. I went last year and it was amazing. So incredible. Brian and I are speaking there this next year, but she puts on such an intimate conference that everyone can talk to each other, brainstorm. And it's not like the hustle and bustle of some conferences with thousands of people. And you're just it's the relationship building, especially for me when it comes to conferences. So I agree with everything you said about the dark social, the private messaging. And we talked last week on our last show about video messaging, just that one-on-one communication.
We use Vidyard's Go Video plugin 10 times a day, 20 times a day. I'm making, individualized video emails for my team, for clients, for prospective clients all day, every day. Right. That's why I always have a studio in my office and lights and the whole thing. I mean, it just has such a greater impact. It's so warm. And frankly, in my world, it has replaced the telephone. I maybe make one telephone call a day.
Oh, wow.
Maybe. Right. I would rather, because if you call me back, the chance of me being able to take your call is about 0.15%. So I'd rather shoot a video email so you still have that warmer, more personal touch where you can actually understand inflection and enthusiasm or whatever, and then get into it through a messaging platform as opposed to try to reach somebody at the same time via telephone.
Yeah. And that kind of, whenever I get a personal message that is, I love a company so much better. Sweetwater, which is a music company, sells drums, guitars, all of that. Their customer service and experience is amazing because you get a personalized email. They give you a little bag of sweet candy also when you order things, which is not the reason why I order, but it's enticing. But their customer service, you realize they really care. It's not just generic or anything like that. Everything personalized always grabs me. And I think a lot of people too. Mitch Jackson said we're doing the same with video email. It makes a huge impact with the clients, potential clients, and even opposing counsel. It's a very cool way to stand out. So, and just like you said before, Jay, all of that relationship building, kind of the intimate setting is where everything's going. And so we're going to transition to your book, your amazing book, Talk Triggers. Now you say in the best companies, the customers do the marketing, which I truly believe in that. But can you break down kind of how you would strategize that and help a company kind of do that and achieve that?
Yeah. I mean, look, word of mouth, according to the research, impacts about 50% of all purchases. So that's many, many, many trillions of dollars. In B2B, impact of word of mouth is at 91%. So
Wow.
almost every B2B purchase is influenced by word of mouth, either online or offline. And I think everybody watching will understand that. Like I've been doing this a while now, and nobody ever says, yeah, I don't think word of mouth is important. Like nobody ever says that, right? We all know it's important. We may not know exactly how important it is, but the reality is that the best way to grow any company, I don't care what your business is, it doesn't matter what your business is. The best way to grow any business is the same as it's been for tens of thousands of years. The best way to grow any business is for your customers to grow it for you. But, Jen, here's the mistake that we make. The mistake we make is assuming that competency will create conversations. We assume that if we run a good business, our customers will notice that and naturally talk about it. But that's not the way humans behave. It's a fundamental misread of physiology and consumer psychology. Like, I don't know everybody tuning in. I know a lot of people tuning in today, and thank you very much. That's dope. But I know this for sure. Nobody tuning in today has ever said, hey, let me tell you about this experience I had last night. It was perfectly adequate.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody ever says that because there's no story there. And word of mouth is just a story. It's a story told face to face. It's a story told in an email. It's a story told in an online review. It's a story told in a tweet. It's a story told in an Instagram story. It's just a story. And so if you want to turn your customers into volunteer marketers, and trust me, you do, you have to actually give them a story to tell. You have to purposely do something different in the operations of your business that is designed to create conversations. And we call those operational differentiators talk triggers. It is something that you decide to do differently that customers are like, oh, I expected this to happen. And instead, or in addition to, this thing happened, that's the thing I remember, that's the thing I'm going to talk about. And that can, and in my estimation, should be engineered and delivered every day to every customer. And when you do it right, it turns your customers into your best sales and marketing advantage, and it will pay economic dividends every day, week, month, quarter, and year. This is not in any way, shape, or form about going viral. I don't care about that. It's not what I do. This is about building a strategic word of mouth advantage forever, not about having a meme that drives a bunch of traffic for an hour and a half. That's not what I'm about.
And so basically, this is exactly why, you guys, if you don't have this book, you need it, Talk Triggers, because it breaks everything down for you and will help just totally change your entire strategy for digital marketing, social media marketing, all of it. It's brilliant, and it's crazy breaking down, the psychological why people do certain things. It's really good. So you need to get it, take notes. You're going to love it.
I do it myself, as you may know. Like, there's a reason why this is the suit, right? So when people hire me, Brian knows this story well. When people hire me to give a presentation, they get sent a link to a special web app that my team and I built. It's called dressjbaer.com. You can go there right now. It's dressjbaer.com.
Oh my God,
and when you go there, it has all the different suits that I own, and the meeting planner gets to pick out which suit I wear on stage. And then we have a little routine that writes to my calendar so that when I pack, I know which suit to bring. Now, what's happened increasingly over the last few months, which is even better, is the meeting planner will pick out their 3 favorites, like the semifinals, and then they send out an email to all the event attendees a week before the event saying, Jay's the keynote, which suit do you want him to wear? And now the whole audience is invested in this trend of mine, which is to only wear plaid suits.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. I did not realize there was a dressjbaer.com. I heard a rumor about something. That's why I did email you guys. I emailed Jay yesterday and I was like, could you wear like a Christmas themed like outfit, suit, something? Which you look dapper. You look amazing.
Thank you. I do actually have a full Christmas themed suit, but it is not currently in my possession. Sorry.
Oh my God, that's totally okay. But see, that's how like you own something and personalize it and make it yours. You're not just a speaker, you make it an experience and something fun that even the event planner can, get more excited about and get everyone.
Brian always wears red shoes and has a backwards baseball cap. It's not an accident.
I know.
He's lazy.
I know.
Backwards baseball cap guy.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. It's so crazy. Now, we had a question. What are the most popular video mail applications? Now, Mitch uses BombBomb, also Dub, Jessica was saying.
Loom. Well, it depends. So BombBomb is actually self-contained, right? Whereas Loom, LOOM, if I recall correctly, and what we use is Go Video from Vidyard,
Okay.
where you can shoot the video through your browser and then attach it to any email. BombBomb's a little more integrated. It just works slightly differently. So what we use is a little more multifunctional. BombBomb's a little easier and self-contained, but I mean, there's more and more of them all the time, and many of them are free. So give it a shot.
Oh my God, I love that. And I think we're going to start giving that a shot in 2022 at Agorapulse, which I'm actually super excited for. And so, Jay, I saw
Let's
you.
test it in the lab. Let's test the efficacy of video email versus regular email. Mike, let's make that happen.
Yeah, actually, we will make that happen. Scott is watching right now, I believe, or had popped in. So, Scott, we're going to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. We're going to totally do that. Okay. So, Jay, we've got about 15 minutes left with Jay, guys. And so I saw Jay talk at Content Marketing World, and I believe it was a new presentation, Jay, that I saw talking about the new frontier of voice.
Oh, yeah, mouth moves. Yeah, it's the first time I did that talk. Yep.
Yeah, about voice technology, smart speakers, Alexa, and just, it's growing at an unprecedented rate, and it's disrupting a lot of what's going on in marketing. So can you give us a little bit of background, like some stats, and then
crazy.
And talk to us about the three main types of voice activated content?
Yeah, so I think we all here tuning in know about Amazon Echo and Google Home and the hardware devices. There's sort of two pieces to this scenario, right? So you've got the hardware devices, Amazon Echo, Google Home, which increasingly have screens as well as the little ones, right? I don't have one in front of me right here. There are, by the end of this holiday season, there will be projections are somewhere around 175 million of those, 165, somewhere in there, we're not sure yet, million of those devices in the United States alone. Now you're like, okay, Jay, that's a big number, but I don't really have any context for that. In the US, Jen, there are 90 million dogs. Okay, so we're talking about almost 2x the number of dogs. And nobody ever says, you know what, that dog thing's a niche. That's not going anywhere. Like, that's a lot, right? There's a lot. So the hardware, Amazon Echo, Google Home, etc., and then you have the software, which is the voice assistant, right? So Amazon Alexa is actually the software layer, not the hardware layer. Google Assistant, which may be familiar, or Siri was really actually the first voice assistant. So the software layer, which should be like Acrobat, and the hardware layer, which would be like your MacBook, is how all this works. Now, what's interesting is while when we think about voice activated content, that's the place that we instantly imagine, because we are all familiar now with those type of devices, and probably you have one or more. But there's other places that voice activated content is becoming really important as well. For example, lots of home consumer appliances and technology has this type of voice activation built in, right? So I'm working on a new television and some new speakers for a new house we're going to move into soon, and many televisions now have Alexa or Google Assistant built in. So do many of the wireless speakers, refrigerators, and cars, right? So a lot of the new vehicles have Alexa built in, etc. So we are going to very quickly be enveloped by voice applications and voice interfaces, which makes it much easier to interact with content, to ask for what you want. However, it is still very early days in terms of creating content as an organization or a brand to work with these devices. For example, if you go to Google and you search social media lawyer, you'll see Mitch Jackson, who is the number one social media lawyer in the world. But you'll also see page after page after page of other links that Google think maybe this is kind of what they want. They probably want Mitch, but maybe somebody else. And so you get 10 links on the first page, and you click the number 2, and then you get 10 more links, and you click the number 3, and you get 10 more links. Well, if you ask Alexa, tell me about a social media lawyer, you're going to get one. It'll probably be Mitch, because Mitch is really good at Alexa-based content, but there is no 10 options. There's one option. So when you're creating content for your brand and you want to make it voice activated and voice ready, understand that there's one winner and infinite losers. So it's time to start thinking about how to make your content more voice ready and voice friendly. There's a lot of things to do on the technology side, but what we're trying to help a lot of clients with right now is really think through voice strategy. Like what can you do for your clients in sort of a utility context in this voice activated world that makes their life better and easier.
So getting in now, would you say, like, I mean, there's so many devices out there. You're getting in on the ground floor, you're getting in early still, or are we late in the game? What would you?
I would say early still. I mean, because there's lots of apps. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what the context is, right? So there's
Yeah.
somewhere close to 100,000 Alexa apps now, but the reality is 90% of them suck, right? And it's purely experimental. People just kind of messing around. So yeah, I think we're still very, very early. Here's what it reminds me of, Jen. And again, this is one of the benefits of me being actually old and having a front row seat to the entirety of, when the internet was invented till today, is that this reminds me very much of when mobile apps were first invented, right? When we first had smartphones, and everybody built a mobile app and they all sucked, and it was like, I don't understand why we'd want to do this, man. And it was partially because people just didn't really understand the use case, or they tried to do too much, or it wasn't well executed. And then eventually there's kind of a retrenching, and then people are like, oh, okay, now I kind of get how this would work. And then meanwhile, the software and hardware also got better. And now, of course, you can't imagine living your life without mobile apps. And so that's what's going to happen on voice as well. I really believe that. We're still in the kind of awkward early days. And so this is a good time as an organization, even as an individual, as Mitch is doing, to kind of put your flag in the ground and start thinking about, what can I do with voice content, or audio content, if you will, that can improve the life of my customers. And it's not really about selling. It really is about information. It really is a utility play. Mitch does a lot of great education advice on his Alexa channel. We're trying to do the same thing at Convince and Convert, and a lot of other brands are the same. So the best way to ponder this, in my estimation, is to not say, what are all the things we can do in voice, but to say, what's the best thing we can do in voice? What's one thing we can do great, as opposed to 30 things that we can do meh? That's the place to start.
So do you have any podcast episodes or materials where people can get more information on this as they're getting their strategies ready for 2020?
Yeah, there's a bunch of I'll find it. I should have brought it to the show, but I wasn't that organized. A lot of recordings today. There's a couple of really good blog posts that I wrote on Convince and Convert about kind of how this all works, and I will occasionally put it in the chat, and then Mike will hopefully move it over into the full conversation as soon as I find it. So meanwhile, ask me more questions and I'll pretend that I'm paying full attention.
Oh my God, I love that. So I'm going to do one more question, because then we're going to get to 2 trivia questions, guys, and then it's over. So, which is so crazy, but you have the potential for the trivia to win either a shirt or a mug, an Agorapulse shirt or mug, your choice. And then Jay Baer's 4 of his books signed. Signed by Jay Guy, signed, which you could sell online for a lot of money,
or less than you paid for them.
Notes, or if you're smart, you'll actually read them, take notes, and actually make your whole marketing digital strategy that much better. But Jay, I'm interested to know, for you, what social media platform do you use the most, and do you get the most business from?
Great question. I use Instagram the most personally, because I feel like it's the easiest to dive in and out of. It requires less reading. I feel like reading the captions adds to the experience, but you don't have to, right? You can just kind of scroll through and quickly get a feel for things. LinkedIn would clearly be the place that we get the most business as an organization. So it's kind of a two-part answer for me. I prefer Instagram, but LinkedIn is a place that is the wisest for us as an organization, and for me personally, and one that we're trying to really double down on next year.
And something to keep in mind for everyone that's watching, basically everyone I think we've interviewed has said that LinkedIn brings them the most business, whether an entrepreneur, a company, or anything like that. So I
think unless you're selling teeth whiteners or bikinis, that's going to be everybody's answer. It should be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you would think it would be.
I mean, it's a social network about business. So the fact that it, brings you the most business should be fairly straightforward for most organizations. And I think if you're in professional services, those kind of things. Now, I will tell you that we work with dozens and dozens and dozens of big companies from all around the world, and that's not necessarily their answer. Depends on the business, right? Some of our clients do much better on Facebook, others do much better on Instagram, some continue to do well on Twitter. It depends on the circumstances, but for, I think, consultants and professional service providers, which are certainly myself and I think a number of people who watch this show, LinkedIn is the place.
Yeah, and I think like why people have been surprised by that on our show is the fact that everyone thought it was for a job hunting site. And if that was maybe true 5 or 6 years ago, but now, I mean, you got to produce content for it. It's got a feed. You've, LinkedIn Live, all of that you can apply for. So
I think you need a LinkedIn logo over your right shoulder because it's missing from your wall back there, Jen.
I know. I'm sorry. When I was searching for everything.
Irony alert.
Yeah, on my Amazon. I know. I will make that happen in 2020, or I'll make it myself. I've got Snapchat over there. I didn't put Snapchat up there. But yeah, I know I'm struggling, Jay. I will make that happen. I will still make that happen. So Jay, I have one last question. So I don't know about you. I don't know if you purchase things on social, but Instagram.
So much. Like I have bought so much shit you don't need on Instagram. I mentioned Instagram commerce earlier.
Yes.
I'm like, I didn't know this thing existed. For me, it is totally taken over for late night infomercials, right? And I used to get sucked into that too, and like QVC and that whole thing. Like that's what Instagram is for me now. It is the postmodern QVC late night infomercial, and it's so much better because of the targeting. I have bought, I don't even know. I bet you I bought in 2019. I'm not kidding. I bet you I bought $2,500 worth of stuff off of Instagram that I didn't even know existed. Just in birthday presents and like, yes, I have a real problem.
I have a real problem too. I tell Brian all the time, like, I'm so scared that it's not going to come up my feed again. So I'll take a snapshot on my phone. So I just know the company and what it is, or like, and it's funny though, because it knows that I'm questioning it. It'll bring it in my feed again if I don't buy it. And then the third time I'm like, I guess it's meant to be. And I do it. So I probably
so powerful. It's so, I mean, it makes me want to start a product company because they do such a good job of just like, yeah, you want to buy this, don't you? Here's those shoes again. You're like, damn it, I gotta buy those shoes.
No, they get me like I probably spent over $1,000 on just Instagram alone. Facebook is pretty good, but Instagram, man. And it's like I wake up in the morning and I'm still in bed and I'm like just scrolling. I'm like, oh, I should purchase. And it's just,
I know.
Yeah, it's incredibly dangerous.
Oh, just quick shout out to Scott for mentioning that today's episode of my Social Pros podcast is with Amber Naslund, who actually co-wrote my first book, The Now Revolution, 10 years ago. And she is now one of the leads of LinkedIn content marketing. And so our episode today is all about LinkedIn and all the things we're talking about and why it's amazing and what it can do and how to do LinkedIn best. And also a deep dive in today's episode on the LinkedIn algorithm and how to get your content seen by more people. It's a really good one. Thanks, Scott.
If you guys aren't already listening to Social Pros, do that now. Get that, just follow it, get all the alerts, do everything for Social Pros, and catch up on old episodes too, which is amazing. All right, guys, so we're going to get to trivia really quick. Ooh, I know. So this is exciting, guys. So Promo did an amazing study. They came out with this the first week of December. They interviewed, I believe, 500 people on basically their habits when it comes to social media. So the first question, we only have 2 questions, guys. So this is really short, and you have to get both of them answered correctly to be in the running to winning the prizes, which is either GoraPulse mug or a shirt, and 4 of just
$4.
Yes, signed. And then if multiple people answer them both correctly, then we'll kind of have Mike Alton pick the winner. So you got to be on Mike Alton's good side. So the first question is, what percentage of people surveyed found video ads relevant to them? So I'm going to say that again. What percentage of people surveyed found video ads relevant to them? Is it A, 31%, B, 45%, C, 63%, or D, 79%?
Is that all channels or a particular channel?
This is all channels.
Okay.
This is all channels, I believe. Yeah.
Video ads is a thing, not Instagram video ads or somebody else. It's this video ads in general.
Yes. I believe so. And for all of those that are answering in the comments, you need to answer 1-A, 1-B, C, so we know which one question you're answering. And we're actually not going to give away the answer on the show, Jay, just because we'll have people doing the replay. But I will, and we can actually drop the article link in after the show's over. That it's a really great article too. So
I'm going to say I want to say 79 because targeting's pretty good, but I feel like that's a pretty big number. So I'm going to say 63.
Oh, you should, if you were, if you were in the chance of winning, you probably should change that answer. But anyway,
I'm going to stay with it. You're just trying to confuse me.
I know. So guys, and we've got a lot of you. So we've got a lot of D's, but then we've got some A's and B's too. So this is good, guys. So yeah, so we'll definitely, wow, C's. Oh, wow. We've got a lot of people answering. You guys are awesome. All right. We're going to get to our second one, and then we have to say goodbye to Jay, guys, because he's got to get ready for his next live event at 3. So what percentage of people watch online videos mostly in bed? Is it A, 35%, B, 42%, C, 54%, or D, 65%? I'm one of those people, I wake up in the morning and I'm like on social for a good 20, 30 minutes. And even before I go to bed too, I do that. So majority is for me, but what did they find in their study is the question. What percentage of people watch?
I love to see this crosstab by age. Mostly in bed.
Oh, we got a lot of C's.
I think it's 42%. I think it's my first answer is 54%, just like the last one. But I'm going to say 42%.
And Jay, always stick with your first.
God, see, I should know better.
I know. Jay, you're brilliant.
My mom was a teacher for 30 years, and she would always say, go with your first answer.
This is true. And a lot of people have gotten both questions right, which means we're going to be doing a fun kind of one of those random apps, using that with the names to get that all done and set. So Jay, you're so awesome and you're so amazing. So I just want to say thank you from everyone that was watching. I think you made everyone's holiday season. I don't think Agorapulse and for everyone else, the holidays wouldn't be just as good if you weren't here with us. So Jay, thank you so much. And where can people find you? So we got Social Pros podcast. We've got your 6 books, Talk Triggers, Utility, Hug Your Haters. I'm not going to remember all of them, but Jay, we're gonna put all of that in here for you. And you want to see Jay on stage? You're going to be at Social Media Marketing World, right?
Of course, I will be there. A bunch of my team will be there as well. Thanks for the kind words. Great to be with you, Jen. I appreciate it. Thanks to Mike and Scott too. Jessica Phillips for sponsoring today's episode. Big ups to my pals at Agorapulse for producing what I believe to be the best social media software out there. I use it every day. In fact, I go check it right now. Best place to reach me, convincingconvert.com is our main site. jbaer.com is my personal site. Quick plug for my brand new podcast, Standing Ovation.
Yes.
It's a show where professional speakers tell the stories of their stories. So if you want to be a speaker, are a speaker, want to be a better speaker, it's a really, really fun show. I'm having a great time recording it. So see you guys soon. Have a happy holiday. I appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah, Jay, seriously, thank you so much. And I think everyone's rallying for you to go to Social Media Week Lima. A lot of the people here are going.
Dude, I'm pumped. I'm totally in. It was June, right? Something like June.
Yes. Yeah. Jessica, send info. So I think it's June 17th. Someone in here knows the answer.
That's great. It's if I can make it happen, let's make it do it. I'd love it.
Yeah. We'll work on that. June 18th. Oh, look at Jessica. June 18th and 19th. It's a 2-day event. And you'll have a whole nother, and dark social is the theme, and you'll have a whole nother just example to use where it comes to relationship building and all that kind of stuff.
That's absolutely. Oh, one question here. I think Steve had a question about, do I use teleprompter for video email? No, I don't, because I do so much MC work. And like Jennifer, you just get to the point where you can do it off the cuff. It's just a learned skill like anything else. And some people are more comfortable with it than others. But yeah, I only do teleprompter if I'm doing long pieces, like a 4, 5, 6 minute like video for a sponsor where I got to make sure I get it exactly right. Then I'll use the teleprompter on my laptop. But other than that, never.
Yeah, and a great way to practice, Steve, is just to, shoot a video yourself or practice with Instagram stories too, doing that kind of on a daily basis because it's not live, and it just gives you extra practice for video. But very true. Reading from the teleprompter, Jay, whew, it's not a natural thing for me. I ad-libbing the weather and everything for so many years. I'm like, guys, I can't do it.
Like over here in Birmingham. Yeah, that's pretty close to Birmingham. Sure.
Exactly. It's exactly how it was. So Jay, thank you so much. Jessica Phillips, our show sponsor, thank you. And our first interview of the new year is going to be the amazing and incredible Amy Landino. We're so excited to have her. So we're going to be talking to her about her new book, Good Morning, Good Life, and just everything else going with blogging and anything you could imagine. So hopefully you can join us then. Happy holidays. Hopefully everyone has safe travels. We love all you guys. Jay, thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Bye, guys.